Well, hello, all you beautiful people. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever started something in life and looked back at it years later and been like, I wish I really would have done that different had I known what I know now? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Roll the intro. Does it still look like me? Like, need to floof the hair a little more? I don't know. Some of these options didn't exist when I was opening the studio. I've been here for almost a decade and a half, which is wild to think about. Back when I was building this studio, the tools that were available to me were just different. I didn't have the options that are out there now. I mean, you can spend a couple grand if you want to and get 32 in, 32 out on some interfaces. It's kind of bonkers that just weren't around. So, one of the biggest things that I would probably rethink doing this again is maybe not going with the Pro Tools HDX rig. At the time, for running a larger space, not having to worry about latency, computers were different back then. Let's not forget, I'm kind of an old timer at this point. Now, processing power is crazy. Connectivity is insane. The cables, you don't even necessarily need the same cables that we built into our systems in the past. So what would I do if it's not HDX? I'd probably go Dante. So Dante, I've been trying to employ it here at the studio for a while in a context that's going to let me kind of do like a mix machine and a capture machine for something very specific, which there's news coming up on that. If you want to real quick get in on that, go to recordingstudiouniversity.com and sign up for the newsletter if you want to be notified first. That's all I'm going to say. But now that it's implemented and seeing how powerful it is, I'm not running my studio off of Dante, but the flexibility involved in a system like that and the integration, once it's set up, once you're rolling, obviously like anything, you got to figure out the quirks, but if I wanted to, I could run Ethernet cable, get rid of all of my audio cables in the building. It's kind of crazy the amount of things that you can do and the flexibility that it allows you to do. And overall, way cheaper. So number 2, one of the things you'll see here, I've got cables coming out of the walls in different places here. You will also see, we're in one of my ISOs. Now, if we pan down here, there you go. You see a box. I've got those all over the building. I would not build cables into the walls if I were going to do this again. I don't know why I thought that was just something that you had to do because pro studios did it. And I wanted to be a pro studio, so I had to run my cables in the walls and have wall-mounted fixtures. It creates so much of a headache, and when you have to troubleshoot something, it's really, really difficult to fix. Whereas now, if I need to run a cable, I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with this. It's just going on the outside of the wall. Run it down the wall. I mean, if you're clever about it, it's gonna be equally as hidden. But the other thing to think about is here, you're a recording studio. You're gonna have cables everywhere all the time. Why am I worried about the one that happens to be an 8-pair cable and like the tidiest thing out of all of them? And the one thing that if it goes down, it kind of shuts down this entire room for me. So it's a weird way to kind of justify so much work. Now, if you're in new construction and that makes sense for you, go for it. However, if you ever want to change anything, if you ever want to move anything, don't worry about putting stuff in the walls. Surface mount everything you can surface mount. Make life easy for yourself. One of the things I would do way earlier is investing in sound absorption materials, doing the right things to get the room where it needs to be sonically, because I was really focused on gear, especially when I first started this thing. I was so worried about getting really, really nice preamps and getting really nice compressors and getting a really good interface, which at the time we've already talked about was kind of limited and very expensive. But I had all of those things and I literally put them into a cinder block basement. I made it look nice. I mean, that cinder block basement had a vibe, but it sounded like trash. I mean, the little things that I knew about how to treat a room was just wrong. I wish somebody would have told me, hey, just go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, whatever you have close. Something like a Ruxel Safe and Sound. Get a package of it. Go to your local fabric store. Buy whatever fabric happens to be on sale and wrap it and hang that on the wall. It may not be absolutely perfect. It probably won't be. And that's okay, because paying a professional to come in and do this can be prohibitively expensive, especially if you're just getting this thing off the ground. But if you do those little things, go get a couple of those battings, go get a little bit of fabric, make it look a little bit nice. It's really easy and makes a massive difference. This wall that you guys always see behind the drum set, let me show you what's actually behind it. For those of you that watch the build guides, you already know what's back here. So this is basically a framed wall. It's easiest to show this next to a window. Just studs. Behind those studs is insulation, safe and sound insulation, 3 inches of it. You can go 6 inches if you want. Here, I knew I didn't really need to do that much in this corner. I wanted to kill it, but not crazy. But it goes around the entirety of this drum alcove, all the way. And then that gets covered with an acoustic curtain that I can move if I want to change the vibe in here. Now that makes this portion of the room pretty dead, which is most of the time pretty good for drums. If I want it more lively, I pull it to the middle of the room. But getting those options in your room to control stuff like that, it doesn't matter what mic you put on something. It doesn't matter what preamp that mic is going into. It doesn't matter the speakers that you're listening on. If your room sounds bad, there's nothing you can do to fix it. Nothing. Networking with people local, I would have taken that way more seriously. I thought that I was doing a good job networking when I started. Here's the thing. No matter how much you're networking, no matter how much you're putting your name out there and how embarrassing it feels right off the bat, you're not doing it enough. You can do it more. Even right now, like, it's still something that I struggle with. Even talking to a camera and putting it out there for almost 45,000 of you to watch. Which, by the way, if you happen to be watching this, hit subscribe because we're almost to 50,000 subs and that's awesome. Learning that skill of like talking about who you are, what you do, talking about being a professional in the industry that some of these folks could utilize you for. It's hard. It's not fun, especially if you're an introvert and it can seem really like used car salesman-y, and you learn ways to speak to it that make sense and are comfortable for you. Practice. Tell people what you're doing. I know those few times when you're starting this business and you go to family functions and your parents introduce you to somebody and like, oh, this is so-and-so, he does music. And immediately you kind of get embarrassed. Well, you got to learn to talk to that and own the conversation. What do you do? How can you describe this to somebody who doesn't know exactly what you do? It's a skill. It's a learned skill, honestly. Some people can come right out of the gate and do it. I could not, but I wish I would have tried to learn how to do that sooner, because that would have translated to a whole lot of different places. Being able to give like elevator pitches to bands really quick, help them to know who I am on a personality basis so that we know if we're going to work well. It would also help me in writing bios from my website, which a website, huge thing when it comes to this. You have to have some way for people to find you. And being able to write about yourself, what you do, the services you offer, and how professional you are is an important thing. So networking, talk about yourself. Money. Let's talk money. I wish I would have opened this door for light. That's what I should do. Don't know if that did anything, but money. I wish I would have thought about money and how important it is early on. Even being able to talk about money to clients is kind of an icky thing. Again, can be very used car salesman, and it speaks to like how you learn to talk to people and that skill that grows over time. But even for myself as a person, it's easy when somebody says, well, you need to pay yourself first. I didn't really know what that meant. Everything went back into the business. Now, I don't necessarily have regrets about that, but I would be way further ahead than where I am now if I had taken that stuff seriously. There was a certain point, I don't even know where I heard it, and it doesn't make any business sense, so I don't know why I would have focused on this, but trying to create as many expenses as possible so I don't have to pay taxes at the end of the year. Because as a business, that's something we're going to have to think about, especially in the US, or whatever your tax codes are, wherever you happen to live. But I had it in my head through somebody telling me I need to buy stuff. I need to incur all these expenses because I don't want taxes. The thing you got to think about, if you ever want to buy a house, if you ever want to leverage debt for any reason, they're going to look at your past income. And on paper, your top line revenue may have been incredible. But by the time it got whittled down to profit and what you took home, maybe you're living like quote unquote poverty. It's going to be really hard to purchase a house and get a loan for that. So money's weird when you're dealing with a business like this. You are the business, but you still need to pay yourself. It's a lesson that took me a long time to learn. I've been doing it for a few years now, and I think the way I'm running the business currently is the most sustainable that I've ever done it. Other than that, putting money away for emergencies, we talk about it a lot. People rarely actually do it. Being self-employed, this is big. Even if your insurance is coming from you, or if you have like a spouse or a partner who gets health insurance and you're doing that, that's great. you still need to have an emergency fund for those unexpected things that happen. And they do happen. They will happen. Just this week, I have had multiple things in the hundreds of dollars that I had to just go, well, whoops, okay, have to pay that. If I didn't have money put away for those moments, I'd be screwed. With a business like this, I have to make sure that I can pay my expenses. I can pay the contractors who are working for me. I can pay my bills to keep the lights on. It's like 100 degrees right now in Indiana. I need to pay to keep the HVAC on so people can come here and work so that I get paid. But pro tip, the biggest thing you can do for yourself as a business, if it's a recording studio, a freelancer, whatever, get a CPA. Get somebody who will sit down with you and you trust. I know a lot of people will do something like TurboTax, and that's okay. But I promise you, you will learn way more. They will save you more money than they will charge you. Just go get a CPA. Pay for a conversation to see if it's right for you. Get a software that you're comfortable with. The price just went up on it, and I'm in no way affiliated with this company, but I use QuickBooks Self-Employed. I enjoy it. It's a little pricey, but it covers basically all of my business bases that I need. Between that and PayPal and a couple CRMs, I'm good to go. By the way, do you guys want to talk more about like business stuff? Because I'm putting together a few little courses, and if that's one of them, let me know. I could probably do that. Getting the right tool for the job. There's a lot of stuff over here. Gear comes and goes. It always will. You're going to have things that work for you in the moment that may not work for you later. But one of the things that I wish I would have understood earlier is to get the right tool for the job earlier. I don't want to phrase that as say, get the most expensive thing as soon as you can, because I see people talk about it like that. Well, go big or go home. Like, that's not necessarily what you need. I think this comes from a place of research, knowing how you like to work and what tools are going to help you work even faster. My equipment choice in this rack is very personal to how I like to work. If somebody else comes in here and they work differently, they may not want to use half of this stuff because of the way that they're working, and maybe it's the speed, maybe it's their turnover, maybe it's the type of clients that they're working for. This stuff won't work for them. Think about that for you. Do you need burl conversion? Probably not. It is tasty though. Do you need a whole host of options of preamps? Are you even recording like multiple people at the same time? Does that even matter to you? Do you need a whole host of like outboard compression? Are you doing mastering? Are you sending out mixes to be mastered? What's that relationship look like? Whatever it is, just like working in construction, like you could not necessarily have to go out and buy the most expensive hammer, but if you're looking at a wall full of hammers here, you can buy the cheapest one. You could do that, put a little more money in your pocket, but by the end of the day, your elbow is going to hurt because that thing's not really shock resistant. You could buy the most expensive hammer there and you'd have a lot less in your pocket, but that may do like 3 other jobs you don't really need that hammer to do. Maybe it's the one right in the middle that is perfect for you and how you're going to use that hammer. This metaphor got weird. Here's the thing to remember. Opening any business is difficult. It's going to tax you in ways that you didn't really expect. And you're literally going to be taxed in ways you didn't expect. What's your list? These are the things that I know would set me up for like not having to think about things too hard, getting the job done, doing it well, doing it quickly, and doing it low stress as possible. Obviously, these are overarching things. We could get granular about like what gear would I choose? We could get really granular about what exact system would I choose? Does it matter? Does it matter for you? These are the things I wish I would have put more thought into and intention into deciding how to build this business and how I use it now. And even as you go through this process, and I hope you go through the process for a long, long time and you're very, very happy, but you will make mistakes. You will make decisions that you feel like an idiot for making. It just happens. Over all of these things, I wish I would be okay with failure, and that took me years. That took me a long time, and eventually why I named the channel Recording Studio Loser. You have to be okay hearing no. You have to be okay with losing the bid. You have to be okay with somebody saying the mix sucks and they're never going to work with you again. That may happen one time. That may happen one time out of your entire career, but it's the one you remember. It's the one that'll nag you. And until you let go of that and realize how many other people you're working with that love what you're doing, that support what you're doing, that appreciate what you're doing, and that you really click with on not just a personal level, but a business level and a production level and a songwriting level. Take those failures as lessons. Let them wash over you, grieve for it because it sucks. But eventually, it's gonna make you better if you let it make you better. What you don't want to do is dwell too much on the failures because they can eat you alive, especially in a business like this where you and only you are responsible for your success. Anyway, guys, I'm Resident Loser Jeremy. It was wonderful to see you all again. Take it easy.